All right. We have now been joined by Joey Logano, driver of the number 22 Pennzoil Ford, and we'll take questions for Joey. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation. Who would like to start us off? Questions for Joey? Anybody? All right, upstairs in the press box. Anybody in the press box have a question for Joey?
No questions.
No questions. Well, Joey, they're going to let you off quick.
Jeez.
But why
Love
don't,
you too.
before you
See you
leave,
soon.
just so we have a little bit of audio from you, just tell us a little bit about that race and ultimately really the end of it. It was kind of a crazy, last 10 laps there.
Yeah, it really was. Just a crazy finish. You know, it seemed like a pretty controlled race for most of it. Everyone was clicking off a lot of laps. We were able to score some good stage points, a second and a fourth in the two stages. So I was proud of that. That helped us a lot in our situation for going into Talladega. And then you think about there at the end, the caution comes out. You make a big call with two tires, gain the spot, and then, the car staying out and getting to the end like that, it's going to be crazy. And obviously they crashed right in front of me. Had a good miss there. Near miss, but it was a good miss. And then, as we had that last restart, I really thought Chase was a sitting duck. I didn't think he could win on those older tires, but I guess that red flag cooled him off enough to where he took off and got that clean air, and the 11 couldn't do anything with him, which was surprising. I was back there fighting the 20 trying to clear him. So, proud of the points we scored today. It's a big deal, and wish we could have won, but overall I call it a successful day.
Well, Joey, we appreciate you spending just a few minutes with us, and we wish you the best of luck next weekend in Talladega.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. We do have one question. Go ahead.
Joe, John Smallwood, Philadelphia Inquirer, Daily News. Joe, can you just talk about how these first four playoff races have just been pretty crazy, and how that's going to just set things up and the mindsets going forward?
They get crazy at the end, that's for sure. It seems like everything's controlled, everyone's doing good, and then there's something that brings out a late caution. And they've all been real cautions. They've just been timed out to where at the end of the race, it's everyone sees that checkered flag, and they know what it means to get themselves to the next round. And 19 capitalized on that today. So congratulations to them. But yeah, that's the way these races go. And I can promise you, Talladega will look fairly similar. It will be definitely a grudge match to the finish. Either way, whether there's a caution or not, that's going to be quite the battle. So, we got to go there and have a solid day. Then we'll be looking pretty good for Kansas. So, just got to get through Dega, which is probably the biggest concern of the playoffs for everybody.
All right. You're officially dismissed now. I've been joined by our second place finisher, driver of the number 11 FedEx Toyota, Denny Hamlin. Denny, a little bit wild and crazy last couple laps there. Tell us a little bit about, from your vantage point, how your race went, and then being able to come home with a second place finish.
Yeah, we had a pretty uneventful race and just kind of kept our nose clean and, did everything we needed to do to get a good finish. I thought that there towards, really the last 100 laps, we had, probably anywhere from a 5th to 7th place car. And, we took advantage there on that last stop to take two tires. That put us in the outside line, got a good restart, and then they wrecked behind us, and that put us on the front row. So, really just a great execution day. Didn't, like I said, didn't make any mistakes, just chipped away at it. We worked our way in the top 10 by the end of stage 2, and then just got to like 8th and 7th and 6th and just kept getting a little bit better through the day. And other guys were starting to falter or their cars were fading, and we took advantage.
All right. We'll take questions for Denny. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation. Who would like to kick us off with a question for Denny Hamlin? Thank you.
Tom Bowles, Athlon and Front Stretch. Denny, on that final restart with Chase in the playoffs, were you a little more cognizant of that, trying to race him for the win, trying to make sure you didn't make any contact?
After last fall, I was really making sure I didn't make any contact, to be honest with you.
All right. Additional questions for Denny up in the press box?
No questions.
Any questions back downstairs? All right, Denny, they're going to let you
Thank
off
you.
easy today.
All
Thank
right,
you for
thanks.
spending some time with us. Best of luck next weekend in Talladega. Yeah, take home a special chair. All right. We have now been joined by the race-winning crew chief, Alan Gustafson, for the Chase Elliott number 9 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. And Alan, first of all, congratulations on the win today. Just talk a little bit about, Chase's drive there the last few laps, that last, call to stay out, but then also just kind of what this win means at this point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really sweet anytime you can win one of these races. It's a great honor, and it's what you strive to do. So really fond of Dover. It's a great racetrack, and we've had a great record here. So it was nice to close the deal. We had a really good car. I don't think our car, we had a chance to show it as much as we should have been able to, kind of mired back there after the pit stop penalty. But I knew we had a good car and just thought it would give them opportunity, and I wasn't sure about the guys. I can't remember. I think we were third at the time the caution came out, but I wasn't sure what the guys were going to do either way. But I just wanted to give them a chance there, and if we could have got a little bit of protection behind us with some guys that stayed out, I thought we'd be in good shape. And our car was good in clean air, so and then we got an opportunity to do it a couple times, and it's the risk here at Dover. Certainly at the end of the race with the corner exits, it's pretty easy to crash like Eric did there on the back, and fortunately we were in front of that, so we'll take it.
All right, well, open to questions for Alan. If you have one, please raise your hand, say your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Tim.
Tim Kittelheim with WRSU Sports. Alan, were you concerned with those late caution flags? Did you question that call to stay out late and not come down pit road when some of the other cars behind you, especially after that wreck, started moving up closer with fresher tires?
No, not really. I mean, you always run a lot of scenarios through your head, and there's a lot of what ifs, and I certainly think you can second guess about anything, but I think that was our best opportunity to win the race, and it was our best opportunity to score the most points we could score. So even if Denny would have passed us, which was certainly a possibility, it was still going to be, yield us more points, and I think it would have if we would have pitted and been potentially in that accident.
All right. Additional questions for Alan? Any questions upstairs?
We have one.
Go ahead.
Jim Mutter, motorsport.com. Alan, after getting now your second win this season and locked into the round of 8, how do you feel your team is set up for the rest of the championship race? It would seem to be you're in a pretty good position considering how you guys have performed on some of the late season tracks.
Yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape. That round of 8's obviously going to be really tough, and I think, most likely to transfer out of that round, we're going to have to win one of those 3 races. So I certainly think those are tracks that we can win at. And now we've got a little bit of time to gear up for that. So I think we're positioned well, but, as you saw today, anything can happen at any point in time. It's, the points are so close and the speed of the cars are so close. It's just, really volatile situation. So I think we're in good as position. I won't say as anybody, probably the 4 and the 18 with all the stage points they have, probably in a slightly better shape than us, but I think we're in pretty good shape.
All right. Nate?
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Alan, describe how Chase handled that final restart where Denny had fresh tires on his outside. It seemed like there was debate all day over whether the inside or the outside line was best on restarts. Yeah,
he just, he asked myself and Eddie, and I think that we both felt like the top was better, and he didn't get a chance to restart at all on either lane, so we'd had an opportunity to watch. But the key is you just you got to get rolling, and then I think if you can either clear them before turn 1 or be really close to it, you can take away their line on exit and clear them. So he did that. He did a great job of it, and executed it perfectly. It could have went really bad if he spins the tires or doesn't get going. I think he did a little better job the first time. There wasn't. I think the guys behind him maybe didn't have as good of tires. I can't remember. But then the 20 gave us a shot, but it was a pretty square shove, so that was good and just got us out there.
And can you talk about or describe like how Chase has matured as a driver from this place a year ago? Obviously, things got away last year in this race, and today he was able to execute.
Yeah, I think it's just you just have to go through those situations, and last year we had a shot to win, and unfortunately didn't win, and you can second guess a lot of things, and you can always say, hey man, I do this different or that different, but all in all, I think we all learned from that experience, and certainly I think he learned from that experience, and that enabled him to race a little bit better today. I think he did a better job passing today, and really, what got us last year is just the lap cars and not working the lap traffic as good as we needed to, and I thought he did a great job with that today. So there's all those little lessons, it takes putting it all together to win these races, and he certainly did that today, and I don't know that there was anything last year with the restarts. It was pretty much green flag run, but I think he's constantly maturing, and you've got to go through those situations. Anybody, he's way above the curve, but anybody, when you're in those situations, you've got to go through it. I think to be honest with you, I think the 10 went through it a little bit today because they were in position to win it and didn't win it.
All right. I think we have a couple additional questions.
Joseph Walken, frontstretch.com. This year, 14th year as a crew chief in the Cup Series. Do you feel like this is your best chance to win a championship?
I don't know, maybe. Whatever year, 09 with Mark, I thought we were really, really good there, and I think we won at least one race in the Chase. I don't know if we won one or two, and then I think that was a really good opportunity. Ended up second, and then 14. I think 14 was probably the strongest cars we've ever had, and that was a big heartbreaker not making it to Homestead. Certainly we should have. There was 2 races we really should have won, and 2 seconds, and then whatever the crash was at Texas. So I don't know. We'll see. I think we're still getting better. I think Chase is getting better, and I think we're getting better as a team. Our NAPA Chevys are getting better, so you never know. It's about taking advantage of your opportunities, and we've been able to create some lately. So we'll just keep grinding and see where the chips fall.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Tim Kettle from WRC Sports. One more question for you, Alan. Do you, as a crew chief, now feel a tremendous weight lifted off your shoulders, knowing that now you don't have to worry about Talladega and Kansas for this round?
Not really. I'm sure when we're at Talladega and the race is going on, I'll feel a lot better. Same thing at Kansas, because the chaos is sure to ensue there also. But, we're going to have to be right in the middle of it too. We can't just, write those races off. We've got to use that as an opportunity to go try to gain some more stage points and bonus points to put us in a better position for the round of 8. So I'm looking forward to Talladega. We always have super fast, super speedway cars, and as you mentioned, I've been doing this for 14 years and not won one of those races, which is something that bothers me. So I'd love to win at Talladega.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Alan, you're talking about the things that Chase has learned from through the last year and the past years and the disappointments. How do you work with him to learn from those experiences? It's one thing to go through those, but how do you help somebody not repeat the same mistakes, not get caught in the similar situations, and not repeat the same thing over and over, so where you're not winning those races when you're back in those opportunities?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the only thing you can do is just really look at the situation without bias. I think it's kind of human nature to make excuses or say, this, that, or the other circumstances. But not only him, he gets the magnifying glass put on him a lot, which I don't know if it's fair or not, but everybody goes through that. The team goes through that. I go through that. Everybody goes through those situations, and we've got some things to learn from the day, from our pit road miscue and some different things we did. So all we try to do is look at it with really clear vision, with unbiased, and just be accountable for our actions and say, hey, this is the reality of what happened. This is why it happened, and this is potentially what we could have done to improve. So I think where that benefits you is when you get back in that situation, then you've got a little bit in your playbook to say, when I did this last time, this was a problem, or I didn't do this was a problem. So you're just quicker and more apt to do it, and you're quicker and more apt to adjust, and you're quicker and more apt not to be complacent. So it's kind of like life in general. You just kind of keep working at it, and certainly, we support him and think the world of him and think he's as good as anybody out there. And I feel like he does for us too. So if you have that mindset going in, you just focus on what you can do and improve and move on.
All right, Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. Real quick, you just mentioned how much you want to win at Talladega. With the kind of the opposite question of Tim's a while ago, with this cushion, do you go out there and take every chance you can for you guys to get that victory?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things on my mind right now. One, I want to win that race, but certainly the other one is I want Alex to transfer. So, my desire to win that race is probably second to that. So we'll do what we can to help Alex, and he's going to have a really good car, and we'll have a really good car. And if we can do anything we can, those races, obviously we've all seen them. You're going to need someone to help you. So if we can do that, and put ourselves in position, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's no taking. It's we pulled the pin. Like there's no getting off the gas now. Like it's wound up and going. It's running. So we won't slow down.
All right. Additional questions? Okay, Chase.
Alan, Chase Wilhelm, NASCAR.com. When we talked earlier this weekend, you talked about the 9-team, the 9-team, Chase Elliott, all you guys not being consumed by pressure and keeping positive energy and being relaxed. How much does that help you when you go to make a call to stay out or any situation like that?
Yeah, it's exactly what we talked about. So kudos to you. You had a crystal ball. You saw it kind of transform throughout the weekend. So yeah, I mean that's exactly what we talked about, and not only at the end with the call, but even the penalty and going to the back. That's when guys kind of typically, it's easy to melt down. It's easy to have damage. It's easy to hurt your car. It's easy to burn your tires off. It's easy to get frustrated. And then, it's easy in a situation we were at the end for Chase to say, I don't have as good of tires, or I don't have as good there's a lot of negatives you can look and say, hey, these are reasons we can't. But certainly on the other hand, there's things that you can say we do have, right? We have track position. We control the restart. We've got a good car. We've got a good pit crew. We can bounce back from the issues. So, yeah, exactly. We just, try not to get consumed by the things that we can't control or out of, are done and over with, and just focus on getting the best out of what we can and making it happen. And, there was a point in that race that it certainly looked like if you were going to poll the people in the stands, we wouldn't have been high up on the list to win it. But I think we clawed back from that and just stayed focused on the goal.
All right. Additional questions for Alan? Any additional questions upstairs? All right. Well, Alan, congratulations again, and thanks for spending a couple minutes with us, and we wish you guys the best of luck next weekend. That is one race. It's nice not to have to worry, right?
He already been through?
He has not been through yet. All right. We have now quickly been joined by our race winner, driver of the number 9 NAPA Auto Parts Chevrolet, Chase Elliott. And this is, just a quick note, the 40th victory for Chevrolet at Dover. And this becomes the 8th track that Chevrolet has 40 or more victories at. So a quick little Chevrolet stat for you guys there. And Chase, they always say the second win comes a little quicker than the first. Tell us a little bit about your last few laps there to pull off that victory.
Yeah, everybody said, he struggled for obviously a couple years to win a race, and they said, once you get one, they all come easier. And I was like, there's no way that's true at all. So certainly didn't come easy today, and just and so glad we could get a win. Last fall was such a tough race for me. As I've said to a bunch of people, it was probably the toughest day of my career, and just to be able to come back and kind of put those things behind you and prove that you belong is very gratifying, and I just thankful for the opportunity.
All right, we'll take questions for Chase. If you have one, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll start up front. Right here, please.
Chase, Alan was talking a little bit about last year, and he said going through that adversity kind of helped you grow and get to where you are today. Do you feel like last year kind of helped you, and today gives you a sense of redemption really to where you got to today?
Well, it definitely makes you learn for sure, and it makes you appreciate a day like today more. I can assure you if last year would have happened, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I do today. When you have those hard days, that certainly makes you learn, and it gives you no choice but to grow up a little bit, so yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you have days like that, you're just proud of the opportunity to be able to come back and be in a position to do it again. Just for the thing to work out, to have a chance to win today is crazy, as is a year later. So, this is an important race to be able to move on, huge. The same thing was riding on it last year and realized we missed out on a hell of an opportunity. So, just a great effort today. Fell behind early and fought back to, have a great shot there at the end.
All right, Tim.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Chase, from what you learned from the race a year ago, is there anything that you really felt you put into use today, either kind of mentally or strategically?
Yeah, I think just mentally having a little more confidence in it, Bob. I think that last year you get in those situations and you just, I don't know. But, I think just having some more confidence going into that. It was the ending was nothing like the race was last year, but it was certainly a tough ending with adversity, restarting on old tires and having those guys coming on fresh tires behind you. All that stuff adds up, and it certainly wasn't the same complexion as the race a year ago. Didn't win it the same way we lost it, but, still just to have some more confidence going into those restarts and things is great. And the more you're in those positions, the better you feel.
All right, Tim, and then we'll go to the back. Go ahead.
Tim Kettle from WRSU Sports. Chase, did you at any point question Alan's decision to stay out on old tires? Did that make you think twice, like, what are we doing staying on old tires?
No, I actually thought it was the move. I was shocked that those other guys didn't stay out there with only 7 laps to go. I just felt like, I thought staying out was the right thing to do if you have a few rows of cars behind you. If that's the case, I think you can make it happen if you do all the other things right. But I was shocked that at least one of the two of them didn't stay out there at the end. But I don't care. I'm glad they didn't. So it worked out for me.
All right, John in the back.
John Haverland, ESPN Albuquerque. Obviously, you're happy that you won, but as someone that's had heartbreaking defeats towards the end, like you mentioned last year's race, do you kind of sympathize with Almirola at all?
No.
Thank you.
All right, additional questions?
Yes, we have one upstairs.
Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, RacingBoys.com. Congratulations, Chase.
Thank you.
Wondering whether or not you studied tape, film, whatever, as far as restarts go, because you finished second so many times earlier in your Cup career. It really seems that you're getting better at closing now.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I just think doing it more. You can watch that stuff to death, and you just won't have the feeling in the car is not the same as watching it. So I just think being in the position more often helps you learn, and until you're in those positions more, it's going to be hard to learn from. So doing it consistently, being in high pressure situations and enjoying those moments is the only way you're going to get better at it. So just glad that we had another chance to do it today.
All right, Jerry, go ahead.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. I got 2. At what point did you realize that, hey, this race might be mine?
Well, you never know if anything is yours until it's over with. So, certainly felt like we were in a good position with those guys staying out. We had a couple rows of cars behind us that were also on the same strategy as us. So that makes you feel better about it. Does it make you confident and you're going to win it? No, but it makes you feel better about it. And like I said, I thought staying out was the right thing to do there, and I was glad those other guys went down pit road.
And the second one is obviously with this win, you don't have to worry about next weekend, and you are locked into the next round. How big of a weight off your chest is that?
Oh, huge. I mean, I think it's nice to be able to know you're going to move on, but you can't get complacent in the fact that you are moving on, and you can't let those points just sit out there and not try to go get them, because those bonus points you get for winning or winning a stage or winning a race or whatever, that's huge. And you need as many as you can get. 1 or 2 points could be the difference in you making the round of 4 or not. So just knowing that and not being complacent with a win and trying to go get another one or 2 before it starts, I think is important.
We have another question for Chase.
Jim Mutter, motorsport.com. Actually, 2 quick questions. Chase, first, before the caution where you guys elected to stay out, you, I believe, were running some incredibly good lap times, and I believe were the fastest. You were being told you were the fastest car on the track. I just was curious first if you thought that you in that kind of speed in the race, if you were not for the pit road penalty, did you think you had a chance to race your way to the front?
Well, we certainly got it a lot better there. I never had a chance to run with Kevin. Obviously, he was really fast, but I thought between the 10 and the 41, I felt like we were pacing them there at the end, at least from what I could see. It's hard to tell when those guys are, half a straightaway or straightaway ahead, but I thought we were close to them, way closer than we had been all day. We had made an adjustment, the stop before that I felt like was the last little bit that we needed to make our car as good as it was going to be today. But yeah, it just worked out. Was able to put ourselves in third, and once they came down pit road, that gave us the lead. And what else can you ask for?
And the second question, with the strides that your team and you have made this season, and now with the pass into the round of 8, what do you think is possible for this season?
Anything's possible, man. I mean, there's no reason why we can't make a run at this deal. I thought we made a great run at it last year. Personally, I felt like we went way further than anybody expected us to. A couple laps away from going to Homestead, so no reason why we can't do that this year and give those guys a run.
All right, we'll just take a quick moment here to let everyone know that we've also been joined by team owner Rick Hendrick, so he's also available here for questions as well. I believe we'll start with Chase. Did you have a question?
Chase Wilhelm, NASCAR.com. Chase, talking with Alan this weekend, he said that he's really worked to make sure that you and the 9 team aren't consumed by pressure. You guys don't focus on the negative energy. It's all positive. How much does that help your mindset in the playoffs?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Alan's approach is great. I mean, he lets me do my thing, and I let him do his thing. He doesn't question me. I don't question him. And to me, it's really simple, and it works great. And I've always appreciated that approach. He reminds me a lot of my dad. In that sense, because Dad's always kind of let me do my thing and has never really questioned it along the way, and that's all you can ask for from a guy who's leading a team or in his position. So I'm just appreciative of the opportunity to work with him. I think he's as good as it gets, really. At the end of the day, I think he's been underrated for a long time, and I just hope that we can give him the gratification and the wins and success that he deserves, because he's really good at what he does.
All right, I believe Bob had a question.
I have 2. First for Chase, did having Denny Hamlin on the front row restarting with you there late, does that add any extra motivation, or do you think any differently when Hamlin's beside you in that circumstance?
I mean, at this point, no. I mean, I feel like we raced with each other a lot, since last fall, but I haven't really had an issue with him since then. So, no, I can't say that I've singled him out there.
And for Rick, what have you seen in Chase, here and at Watkins Glen that maybe you haven't seen previously?
Yeah, I've seen what I saw today a lot. with Chase, we just didn't have the car for him early in the year. And what I saw him do at Watkins Glen was, I mean, unbelievable against some of the best road racers. So, I mean, seeing him develop at some of those tracks had been unbelievable. But like he said, we were a lap away from him going to Homestead last year when he got spun. So I think we were behind this year. We've caught up a little bit, and he's just got an awesome amount of talent. I think, again, to be able to show it on a road course, it was pretty unique.
All right. Any final questions for Chase? I'd like to go ahead and dismiss him. Okay. We'll take one more from Dustin, and then we'll let Chase continue his post-race activities. Go ahead.
I've got a question for Chase and one for Rick. But for Chase, you know, it's been well chronicled, the close calls and the struggles. And it's one thing to have that if it's at the local short track where there's not as many people viewing. When there's so many people there and so many people having to ask about it week after week after you've had it, how does that not break you? How does that make you stronger? How does that prevent you from repeating and falling into the same cycle?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's frustrating at the beginning of it, but you guys asked me so much, I really got to the point where I really didn't care. So I appreciate that because that was kind of where I landed with it. And, yeah, just really don't care what y'all ask me anymore. And that's a great way to be, in my opinion. It may not be right or wrong, but that's the way I've approached it, and it's the way I'm going to continue to approach it.
All right. Go ahead, Dustin.
For Rick, obviously this year you guys have been looking for sponsorship for the 48. That's been something you haven't had to do for a very long time. How challenging, what has that process been like? I think there's certainly a lot of questions in that. There's nothing been announced at this point in regards to where that car will be as the sponsorship-wise.
Yeah, you know, when you have as many, sponsorships in general have been tough for everyone. And, you know, for Jimmy, we haven't had any sponsor other than Lowe's. And we've had some opportunities, but there was a conflict with some of the other sponsors we had. But we're pretty excited. We're going to have an announcement probably in the next 30 days or so, and I feel real good about it. And but you know, it's really hard when you have someone that has been so successful, but they have been tied to one brand for a long time, and we're excited about the next chapter there.
All right, Chase, we're going to let you go and continue with some of your post-race activities, but congratulations again. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Yep. Thank you.
We'll continue with questions for Rick. Does anyone have any final questions for Rick? Okay, we have one more.
Anybody have questions for Jeff Gordon? He's here.
I know.
Hey, Jeff, come on up here.
We even made you a name tag, Jeff.
I was hoping you got rid of those.
Well, we upgraded to iPads.
If you can't handle it, I'll answer it, okay?
Just make sure Dustin doesn't ask you more tough questions.
All right, go ahead.
Michael Finley with Speedway Media. This is actually the 20th win at Dover for Hendrick Motorsports, and the vast majority of those wins came from Jimmy and that guy up there. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like Chase has that same potential to eventually get to that level?
Absolutely. When you see Chase, he's run so well. He runs good on the super speedways. He's good on the mile and a half. You know, he's good everywhere, short tracks. And you know, I think Jeff will say the same thing. He's cool. He's calm. He doesn't get rattled. He knows when to race. I've been so impressed with him in the last couple of years, and we just could not put it together. I mean, we lose it on pit road. We stay out and everybody pitted. You know, it was almost like he was snake bit. And I know why he feels like he did, because he was there so much, and it was like you can't close the deal, and it wasn't really his fault.
All right, John, go ahead in the back.
John Haverhill, ESPN Albuquerque. For Jeff, I'm back here. Does this win remind you of anything from your career, like as you were a younger driver, maybe something that you kind of lucked into or just had the circumstances play out?
Well, I was, in Victory Lane there, and Alan was talking about how we stayed out one time maybe in one race here, so I don't remember that. But, I think kind of going off of what Rick was saying with Chase, I mean, you think about how many second-place finishes he's had, how close he's been, and I think the Watkins Glen, just getting that monkey off his back, just being able to get into Victory Lane, recognizing that, all the ingredients that it takes to finally pull it off is such a huge relief as a driver. And now to be able to follow up that Watkins Glen win with a win here in the closing laps on a restart against, a guy that had a little bit fresher tires, a guy you have some history with, I think that this only elevates up his game and that whole team's game of being capable of going and now closing the deal. It's tough when, you've been so close and it doesn't quite work out, but all it takes is a couple of big events like this where you do close it to build that momentum and confidence to continue to go do that. So timing couldn't be better for Alan and Chase and this entire team.
All right, Jerry, and then Tim.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. Jeff, I know what Rick would probably say about this, but Alan was in here talking about the two young guys, Chase and Alex, making it possibly to the next round. What are your thoughts on that? To see the two young guys at Hendrick Motorsports moving on and kind of, you were the young guy once and Jimmy was, that kind of following those footsteps like that.
Well, I think going back, it was really unfortunate the way that race ended last week that knocked Jimmy out. I mean, he did, and that team did everything that they needed to do to get themselves to the next round, and then it just didn't work out with the way that thing unfolded. But I think I told Rick this just a short time ago. I mean, the momentum of the Roval and how exciting that was. I saw people at that race, including myself, that were seeing things that we haven't seen in a long time, and it just reminded me of like the Brickyard 400, and just events that were inaugural events. It just brought a lot of buzz and excitement to the sport. You follow that up with a Chase Elliott win here in Dover, and that's, yes, we're biased, but I think we all know, of what that means for momentum in the sport and positive things. So young guys are very, very important, but so are the veterans. What you want is those to go head to head, and you want a changing of the guard, but you want to see the veterans do what they're capable of doing, and then you want to see a young guy come along that challenges that, and so it makes for great headlines and stories. And I think we're fortunate to have both at Hendrick Motorsports. A guy that's a legend and still a little more work to do, and one that's got a lot ahead of him in the future. Several guys, actually. You look at William and Alex.
All right, Tim.
Tim Kettlefam with WRSU Sports. This is actually a question for both Rick and you, Jeff. What type of advice have you guys given Chase over the last couple of years, and how have you seen him kind of develop and mature over the last couple of years, particularly with the performance on the racetrack?
Well, I think you could sense it up here. There was so much pressure on him to close the deal, and I would reassure him, man, that wasn't your fault that the pit crew fumbled the ball. Several races like that, it wasn't his fault, and so you keep trying to reassure him, but you could to a certain point, but when he won that race at Watkins Glen, it was like the world was lifted off of his shoulders. I saw it different. He was loose. He was having fun, and I think Jeff can tell you, until you can coach him, you can talk to him, you can do whatever you want to do, but until they get that win and that kind of eases up, that's we've talked to Chase a lot, but Chase is a super smart race car driver, and from my standpoint, I think, and Jeff talked to him too, it's just, hey man, don't let the pressure get to you. You're Bill Elliott's son. You're supposed to win. You've been so close. You've been a Xfinity champion, but he's handled it well, and I think I'll let Jeff answer the rest of it. But he's showing me some poise and how to race, when to race, take care of the car, feedback on what the car needs. I mean, he's still a young guy. He's doesn't have a ton of laps.
Yeah, I like to hear when I was sitting over there, hearing Chase talk about embracing Alan Gustafson. I think Alan Gustafson is very underrated. And I think Kyle Busch, if he were to be honest and tell you, he'd say the same thing. Mark Martin would tell you that. I would tell you that. Guys that have worked with him. And I think that by him embracing what Alan and this team is capable of giving them, and now to have some momentum and confidence, I don't think there's anything that we can tell him other than to just continue to support that. And the team loves him, and they believed in him, and now things are starting to click. It's great momentum, and that's all you need as a confidence booster as a driver, is just to start getting the W's and getting the things that you work so hard for to start to go your way. And I'm a big believer that that doesn't happen, on sheer luck. It happens through hard work and commitment, dedication. I think this team's very, very committed and dedicated, and they'll show that over the next several weeks.
All right, additional questions? Any questions upstairs? All right, we'll come back downstairs. Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Rick, with you having Jeff there with the organization, and I don't even know if the exact title is part-time advisor or something like that. Is that
did you have to
Hey,
bring
man,
up the word part-time?
I really
Dustin,
appreciate you
please.
saying that. Part-time, quarter-time maybe.
How important is it something that you want Jeff to be more involved with, and in what ways? And Jeff, is that something that you feel like you could put in your schedule, or that's just not?
I love my schedule, Dustin. Go ahead, boss. Sorry.
To be successful, you have to show up. Show up on time, and show up on time with the game face on. He promised me when he got out of the car he would be there. He's done a great job. I love to give him a hard time. I'd love to see him there more, but he's got his obligations with TV. But when he walks in the room and he goes into the debriefs, there's so much respect for him because of who he is and what he's accomplished. And all the folks there look up to him. So he's done I love to give him a hard time. I would like to have him more, but because I won't say I want to retire, but not say that. But I would like to see him there more because he's got a lot to offer. And so, Jeff, how much are you going to?
Dustin, I will later. I will
Dustin.
thank you for bringing that question up. Couldn't have been better worded. He just told me my nickname was part-time the other day. So.
All right, I believe Chase had a question up front.
Chase Wilhelm, NASCAR.com. This one's for Jeff. Going back to the relationship between Chase and Alan. Alan and you were in a pretty high pressure situation in 2015, going for the championship in your final year and all that. How much do you think? And Alan said that is the most high pressure situation he's ever been in, probably ever will be in, is with you. So how much do you think that scenario has helped him with Chase and the expectations with him to win and all that combined?
Well, I don't know if I agree with Alan on that. He was in he had high pressure situations when Kyle Busch was his driver. He had high pressure situations when Mark Martin and he, came close to winning a championship. I think it definitely heightens the pressure because of the playoff system that's in place now, and to go into Homestead in 15 and battle for that. That was, I think 14 was our better shot at it. Unfortunately, we didn't go to Homestead that year. But I'm honest when I say this. Alan got myself and he got Mark later in our careers. He has Chase Elliott in the prime, I think, or maybe even just getting into the prime of his career. And I joked with Alan, but I meant this in all sincerity, is that today what I think made Alan Gustafson grow to the next level is that he put his driver in a situation where others came in to get tires, he stayed out, and they had 2 restarts, and he got it done. He had a driver that got it done. And if I had a flaw late in my career, it was that I didn't get it done, for them in those situations as often as I would like to have. So what that does is that now tells a crew chief, when I'm in this situation, I can take more risk because I have a young guy that's he's gonna put it on the line. He's gonna push the limit and do what he has to do to get those wins. And these days, crew chiefs have to be able to make those gutsy calls because track position is so important. And so that's what made me really happy for both of them, for Chase and for Alan today.
All right. Any final questions upstairs? All right. Any final questions downstairs for Jeff or Rick? All right. Thank you guys for coming in and spending some time with us, and congratulations on that win.